Your show. Let's go.
Alrighty. Hello, I'm Thais. This is Dan. We are going to go through a full stretch class. So let's just start with a bit of body lingering. So standing on your feet, nice and tall, send those shoulders back. So to press shoulders here, and then just look down and up. Just keep your whole body quite tight and just stretching the back of your neck and the front of your neck.
Sorry, let's start again. I forgot that's going to block out.
Just keep going, guys. We might have to start again. I'm starting again then. No? Okay. And then just look over one shoulder and over the other shoulder. Just constantly keeping those shoulders down. So looking over one shoulder, other shoulder. Make sure your shoulders, your hips are facing forward. And just the last couple of times here. And then arms will go in front of you. Lock those elbows nice and straight. And then send those shoulders up, back, down, and forwards. So imagine you're drawing a big circle here with your shoulders. So shoulders, they go up, elevation, back, retraction, down, depression, and forwards, protraction. Now try to make that one smooth movement. So just one big circle. And then let's go all the way. So now shoulders go up, forwards, down, and back. Up, forwards, down, and back. And last one here. And then we all here touching our shoulders and draw the biggest circle possible with your elbows. Let's go one way first. And back the other way. Last one here, and then crossing arms on your chest. Make sure glutes are on, hips are facing forward, and bring that spine into flexion, and then rotation, then side flexion, extension, into side flexion, rotation, back into flexion, and then go opposite way. So here, guys, just make sure glutes are still on, so your hips are nice and open. So hips should be flat, open here, and then just flexing, rotating, side flexing our mid upper back. Nice, guys. And then just finishing there. Maybe just take your feet out, hands on your hips, and then we're hinging from our hips. So up and down, unlock those knees. So we shouldn't be getting a very strong stretch in our hamstrings. So just keep those knees bent and push your hips behind you and all the way up. Nice work, guys. Maybe last one here, and then you can see Dan has his feet out on a straddle. This time, I want you to bring one arm here by your ear, and then you're just going to stretch the side of your body, chest facing out to the side, and then rotate, and then just sweep across the front. You can have both hands on the floor, and then opposite arm goes by your ear all the way back up. Once you're up here, opposite way. So stretch the side of your body, chest facing out to the side, and then all the way here into deep flexion, sweep across the front. So let's go one way all the way. Just a bit of body lingering here, guys. Make sure body's ready for more intense stretches. And here, go at your own pace. Doesn't really matter how many reps. Don't worry about being even between both sides. Just getting our bodies to move a little bit before we stretch. And then last one here, maybe just stay with your hands on the floor. Unlock your knees and sit down. So bring those hips all the way down, double pulse, and all the way up. Again, you don't need to get those legs completely straight. Just bounce those hips all the way down and then hips up to the ceiling. Last couple of times here, guys. And then we can all stay on the floor. So let's go down on the floor. And you guys can sit back on your heels, untuck your toes, flat feet, and then tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels. So a bit of rocking, keep rocking. And flat feet, toes tucked under. And then just keep that feet flat on the floor. See if you can get hands here, right next to your hips, and very gently, see if you can bring those knees towards your chest, and get a bit of stretch here, front part of your ankles. Just make sure you just go within your limits. Doesn't need to be too strong here, guys. And maybe last couple of reps. And from there, I want you to find a seal stretch. So lying down on your stomach, hands right next to your chest, and then fully extend those elbows. You can see here, guys, Dan has his shoulders completely away from his ears, so shoulders is still down. If you feel comfortable, you can look up. If that doesn't feel right for you, you can just look forward and stay there a bit. And then gently, gently, see if you can look over one shoulder and look the other shoulder. Nice. And then I want you to stop in the middle, take a deep breath in, and start tucking your chin towards your chest, rounding that spine. So chest in, ribs in, and slowly, slowly you're going to transition into a child's pose. So press your hips back, open your armpits towards the floor, and then once you feel you're ready there, you can go opposite way. So hips go up, you push that back up to the ceiling, and then drop those hips down, squeeze those shoulder blades together, send those shoulders down, back into a seal stretch. So keep going through these two positions, guys. Let's go just a couple of times here. And then just freeze for me on a quadruped position. So hips above your knees and shoulders above your head. And let's go through a few cat and cow segmentations here. So just push your back up to the ceiling. Imagine you're bringing your full back here, full spine into flexion. Start from your tailbone and then start anteriorly tilting the pelvis, bringing vertebra by vertebra into extension. And again, you can finish looking forward. If you feel like looking up, it's completely fine. And then from your chin, tuck that chin towards your chest. Spread those shoulder blades. Bring that spine into full flexion again. And let's go through a few reps here, guys. nice and slow. And try to move one vertebra at a time. Make sure elbows are locked, nice and straight. And maybe let's go for last rep. Awesome, guys. And once you finish this rep in full, I want you to sit on your 1990 position here. So make sure that front knee is in line with front hip, front foot in line with your front knee. So everywhere I look here then has 90 degrees angle. From here, guys, we don't need to be really, really strict with this one. I want you to transition into your other side, 90-90. So you want to be as tall as possible. See if you can sit on top of your sit bones the entire time, and then just keep transitioning from one side to the other. So always think about pulling those knees away from each other. You can have arms out to the side. If you feel like having your hands right behind your hips here, guys. Words are just disappearing from my mind. And maybe one last one, and I want you to finish actually sitting down on a bear sit. So sitting nice and tall. Then it's going to show us how a bear sit looks like. So imagine here you want to be as tall as possible. Try to sit on the very top of your sit bones. So here Dan has a 90-degree angle on his knees and flexed feet. So his ankles are on the floor. Then we're going to have our arms nice and straight inside part of our knees here. So that's our setup first stretch. So we're working a bit of internal rotation here. So from now, guys, I just want you to find that position. See if you can have a bit of stretch abductors. So here inside part of your legs. And then we'll have a few contractions here. So what we're doing, I'll ask you guys to just push those knees into your elbows. Yeah, as you wanted to bring knees in. And we have 10-second contractions. It doesn't need to be too strong. So imagine you're just working maybe 50 to 60% of what you think is your maximum strength here. We're going to start in 10 seconds. Make sure you're lengthening that spine, open up that chest, and let's go. Now, knees into your elbows for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. See if you can bring those knees out to the side a little bit further. And let's go again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. If you feel like just moving your feet out to the side a little bit more, getting into a bit more of that stretch, it is fine. Just readjust. Sit on top of your sit bones. Nice and tall through your spine. And last one. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just stay in that position for the last 10 seconds here, guys. And slowly, slowly coming out of it. If you want to give your hips a swivel, if you want to stand up, go for a few hip circles here. And then guys, if you have 2 weights, they should be quite light actually, or 2 small plates, or anything you can use as 2 weights. Please grab them. If you don't, it is completely fine. So next stretch here, we're gonna go for a butterfly stretch. So then it's gonna sit back against the wall. If you don't have wall space, that's completely fine as well. you can just sit on the floor. So I'll just get Ben to sit down here. You want your hips as close as possible from the wall. If this position doesn't feel right for you, you're welcome to put a book or a yoga block under your hips. If you have weights, weight will go right on top of your knees here. So I just want you guys to find this stretch first. So just set yourselves up in this position. Make sure your chest is nice and open, you're nice and tall through your spine, hips are completely here against the wall. And just get there for me. So we have a passive hold to start with, and then I'll talk you through a few contractions. Very nice, guys. You right there then?
My favorite stretch.
It seems very happy. All right, guys, and then from here, if you don't have weights, I'll just ask you to use your hands instead. So I'll ask Dan to do the same. So he's gonna push his knees into your hands as he wanted to get his legs together in the middle. Let's go again for 50 to 60% of what you think is your maximum strength here. So we're squeezing the same muscles that we are stretching. I want you to try to activate all these muscles here inside part of your legs. So let's go first contraction in 3, 2, 1, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just relax into that stretch now. Just try to constantly send that message to your body that you're not in danger, you are in control. Just try to relax in that position. And let's get ready for the second contraction here. So squeezing all muscles here inside part of your legs. Let's go again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Just allow yourself to sink deeper into that stretch. And always paying lots of attention to your breathing. So you want to go for a nice deep inhale and then exhale. This stretch, just relax your belly, relax everything. And we have one more contraction here, guys. Let's go again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now all we have here a 30-second hold position. So just imagine you want to be as tall as possible, lengthening that spine, relaxing all those muscles on your hips. Just allow the weight of your hands or those weights to just push your knees down towards the floor. Big inhale. As you exhale, that's exactly the moment you want to go a little bit further into that stretch. So just stretching abductors here, guys. If you have weights, just take them out, just put them aside, and to come out of it, just maybe use your hand to bring one knee towards the other, and you can lean out to the side. So just coming out of it, nice and slow. Awesome. Beautiful. And then if you guys want to stand up, bit of hip circle, give your hips a swivel. If you're fine, awesome. And then here, guys, the next one. If you have a wall space, I'll just ask them to lie down on his back. So feet here, lie down your back, hands there, and up head. And then we are going to go for a piriform stretch. If you don't have wall space, elevate your feet on your couch or on a chair. So here, guys, I just want you to make sure to start with, you have either a 90-degree flexion here on your hips or even a smaller angle. Yeah, you just don't want to be too further back from the wall. From this position here, I'll ask them to cross one leg over the other. And then we are going to use our hands to just make sure this knee is completely out to the side here. So ideally, you want that knee either in line with your top foot or either this way a little bit more towards the wall. And then just stay in that position for me. So here, guys, we have just a passive hold. What I want you to do whilst in this position here, I want you to think about an anterior pelvic tilt. So I want you to try to arch your lower back, create a space between your lower back and the floor. If that doesn't feel right with your lower back, it's completely fine. Just stay as neutral as you feel like. Just see how you go. You don't need to try to create that arch if that doesn't feel right to your back. But if you're okay with that, just try to anterior rotate that pelvis and make sure you have that space between your lower back and the floor. And just staying there, guys. If you want to make this a little bit more intense, you can always shuffle your hips towards the wall or towards your couch or your chair. You feeling it then? Yeah?
Yep. Start halfway.
Nice, guys. So constantly pulling that knee, that top knee, away from your chest. You can use your hands. You can try to just actively get that knee as away as possible from your chest. And just breathe in and out. And last 10 seconds or so. And slowly, slowly coming out of it, changing sides. So you can just swap sides here for the ankle, crossing on top of that knee, and constantly trying to create that gap between the lumbar spine and the floor. So instead of tucking that tailbone under, this time you want to even create some pressure between your tailbone and the floor. So you want to drive the tailbone down into the floor. Same time, that top knee goes out to the side as much as you can. And last 30 seconds here, guys. And relax your neck, relax your shoulders. Sometimes if we are in too much pain during the stretch, we tend to just create tension everywhere here between our shoulders, neck, upper traps. So just relax that. The last 10 seconds here. So if you want to go a little bit further, a little bit more intense, you go now. And then just coming out of it. Nice, guys. Next one here. I think that's our second last for lower body. So guys, here, we're going to bring front leg. Just bring the front leg the way it's comfortable for you. We're working here on our back leg. So when you go here, just ask them if you have very strong big calves, Just roll those calves out of the way and see if you can bring that heel as close as possible from your bum. So more or less, that's how you're gonna look like. I'll get then to set himself up there. And again here, guys, if this is too much for this knee, you're welcome to just open this ankle a little bit. So your heel doesn't need to be so tough now. Yeah? So just get into that position for me first. And here, guys, we are doing exactly the opposite of the previous stretch. So I'll ask you, this is really important here, instead of doing an anterior pelvic tilt, from the very beginning of the stretch, I want you to tuck your tailbone under and really, really do a posterior pelvic tilt here. So I want you to be squeezing your glutes and think about this bony part of your hips here. You want to bring this bony part of your hips all the way up towards your ribs. Yeah, so that's how we're setting up here. If you're really doing, and you guys can get into this position already, if you're really doing a strong pelvic tilt, you should feel already a bit of stretch, hip flexors and quads. Some people will feel more towards the knees, some people will feel more towards the hips. It is completely fine. You'll be feeling what you have to feel. And then from here, guys, I want you to think about leaning those shoulders back without arching your lower back. So I want you to keep that posterior pelvic tilt as much as you can and see, imagine you want to bring an entire flat spine towards the floor. So see how much you can lean your shoulders back without arching your lower back. So ribs in, you've got your core tight for this one. So I want you to not soften the belly, keep your midsection quite active here. And we are holding that. So we've been here for almost 1 minute now.
3, 2, 1, rest.
Nice, guys. Maybe fold over the last couple of breaths here. And every time you exhale, try to go a little bit further if you feel you have room for it. You choose how intense you want to work, how intense you want your stretch to be. And then for here, guys, if you want to come out of it, and we're coming out of it now, just lean out to the side. And then bring that back leg in front of you and swap sides.
3, 2, 1, go.
Guys, just resetting the cameras here. So just stay there for me. So we're doing on the side. I'll just repeat myself here, guys. You stay there. So now we're just swapping sides. So exactly the same thing here. If you need to roll your calves out here so you have more space to get into full knee flexion, please do it so. If this angle is too much for you, you're welcome to open this knee angle a little bit and strong posterior pelvic tilt. So sucking your tummy in, keep that lumbar spine flat and try to lean your entire body back. So you see sometimes people just leaning the shoulders back and creating a huge arch on the lumbar spine. You don't want that. So imagine here, if you want to touch any part of your torso on the floor, your lower back touches the floor first. So really tucking that pelvis. Just a little bit longer there, guys. And again, I said that before, but I'll say it again. Just try to relax. Tell your body you're fine. That position is comfortable. It's under control. And just a little bit longer here, guys. Last 20 seconds or so. Work with your breathing all the time. Try to keep a nice breathing, nice pace. And then slowly, slowly coming out of it, leaning out to the side. Awesome. All right. And then we have our last stretch, the lower body. So we're doing a bit of hamstring stretch here. So guys, we will elevate feet. You can use your chair, couch, if you need something for support. So I don't know if then we want the stick. I brought it. Anyway. Mm-hmm. So we're just standing up here, guys. And for this one here, see if you can have both feet, toes facing forward. And then we're going to get one foot up on the chair or up on the bench. So here, if you guys have a look, Dan has his bottom foot, toes facing forward, and same thing, top foot here. What I want you guys to focus here, we are going to be constantly squaring our hips. So think about pushing that back hip forward and pulling that front hip back. So always squaring them up here. And then, guys, another thing, you can get into that stretch. I'll start counting time here, and then I'll talk you through a little bit more. So if you guys quickly look to the screen, you'll see then here he has a flexion on his knee. So if you're completely fine with a fully straight leg, that's okay. I would highly recommend you to keep some flexion in your knee. So it's just safer for your sciatica, yeah? And then another thing here, guys, I want you now to pull the chest toward your big toe. So rather than just going down, I want you to imagine you want to touch your nose on your big toe. So if you have a look here again, Dan has a very nice spine. So he's basically squaring his hips and hinging from his hips. So that's how he gets his chest to travel forward. If you really maintain that nice and long spine here, you won't need to come down too much to feel a nice stretch on your hamstrings. And here, guys, we have two very quick contractions. So what I want you to do, I want you to drive that heel down into the bench or into the chair. And imagine you want to hamstring curl that leg. So you want to bring that heel all the way towards your butt. Yeah? We have 10 seconds there. Again, doesn't need to be too strong here. Let's go with 5. So just get ready, lengthening that spine. And here we go. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want you to relax. Take a big inhale, exhale, and try to go further into that stretch. Constantly squaring those hips. Think about hinging from your hips here rather than getting your spine into flexion. You don't want to round that spine. I really don't mind how low you get. I prefer to see people quite high here, maintaining a nice long spine that sometimes people shoot down, but you see they all round here through the spines. And let's go again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one big inhale. As you exhale, we've got last 20 seconds in this position. And then slowly, slowly, just bring the top knee into full flexion. And you can swap legs. Same thing here. So just square your hips up. Feet pointing so your toes are facing forwards. Nice and long spine. And I want you to find that stretch. So guys, here so far we did a bit of hip external rotation. We did a bit of stretch for glutes and piriformis. Adductors, abductors here, hip flexors, quads, and now we're doing hamstrings. All right, so we have 2 contractions, 10 seconds each. And let's go for the first one now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Inhale, exhale. See if you can go any further. See if you feel like going any further. If that's good for you, that's good for you. Here, guys, again, if you look at the screen, you can see Dan has quite a flexion here on his knee. Completely fine, yeah? So just maintaining that nice and long spine will be more than enough to target here your hamstrings. And let's go now. Drive that heel down to the floor towards your butt. You want to hamstring that cow for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And we've got last 20 seconds here. And last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, guys. Beautiful. And moving into upper body. So for upper body, I'll just get this bench side. I'll just ask you guys to sit down on your heels, sit back on your heels. So just sitting on your heels. If that position is uncomfortable for you, you're welcome to pop a book under your hips so your knees are not into full flexion. And from here, I want you to bring one hand all the way behind your back. So let's say here Dan has his right hand behind his back. So he's going to side flex his neck to the left. And then I want this shoulder, imagine your right shoulder is all the way down, and then has his left hand here assisting to get his neck into a bit more of side flexion. So once you set up the counting time, nice, guys. Imagine you want to be depressing that other shoulder all the way down. You will have that shoulder into a bit of internal rotation. That's completely fine. And then just swapping sides. So now other hand goes behind your back. So the back of your hand can be here. Even if you can get fingers all the way to the other side. And then side flexion again. And here, guys, just stay there for a little bit longer. And coming out of it. And then for the next one, you can have arms down by your side. Just send those shoulders all the way down. And I want you now to look up. And as you look up, I want you to think about your mandible here. See if you can drop your chin forwards. And just imagine you want to have your spine. So your spine here, you upright, so avoid leaning your shoulders back. Yeah? So your shoulders should be quite stacked on top of your hips. You're only doing cervical spine extension. And then coming out of it, nice and slow. If you want to go for a few neck circles or even scapular circles here. And then it's just stay sitting down, but this time you're going to have your legs in front of you. And then here, guys, I'll ask Dan to grab his shins. Maybe then just, do you want to face one side so they can see you? And then from here, guys, I want you to grab very strongly with your shins and imagine you want to spread your shoulder blades as much as you can. So if you want to have a quick look here, Dan is round through his spine and he's trying to spread those shoulder blades as much as you can. Send that sternum in. So use your legs here as you were like hanging on a high bar. And again, just have a passive hold here. So we're targeting all those little muscles here, all those small muscles between our shoulder blades. So that's where we should be feeling the stretch. Your chin is tucked in, yeah? So I just want you to relax your neck. Just relax that neck and really concentrate here. Imagine you want to just create the biggest gap as possible between your shoulder blades. And then from here, guys, don't come out of it yet. If you just have a quick look here, I'll ask Dan to go into shoulder retraction. Squeeze his shoulder blades as much as you can. Lengthen that spine as much as you can. And then again into shoulder retraction. So back to that stretch. If you want to go another couple of times through this, retraction and protraction, you're welcome to. So you can see here, then just going a bit of retraction, and then again, grabbing his shins and really, really rounding his spine. So just imagine here, you want to touch the logo, the Falsegrip logo on the skull bars. I think you can then. It's not that far. Just slowly, slowly coming out of it. Nice, guys. Awesome. From here, I want you to get on a quadruped position. So on your knees and hands, we're going to do stretching cat. So for this one here, one thing, hips should be above your knees. So hips directly above your knees. Then I want you to walk your hands further forward. So if you guys see here, hips stay hip here above knees, and I want you to think about pressing your armpits down towards the floor. But this stretch here, guys, just soften your belly. Just be careful, because if you have any lower back issues, some people, they tend to over-arch the lower backs. I don't want you to put an effort on over-arching the lower back. I just want you to think about softening your belly and pressing armpits down towards the floor. Stay there just for a little bit. We're not doing that yet. I just want you to listen to me. So our next thing here, we're going to go up on our fingertips. And I want you to go through a few reps. So I want you to pulse those armpits down towards the floor. Maybe let's start now. So up on your fingertips, just pulsing those armpits gently towards the floor. So what you want to do here is open your shoulders. So we're working in what we call shoulder flexion. And I'll just stay at the bottom for me for another 20 seconds or so. Then from this position here, guys, we are gonna lie down on our stomach. So then you'll just get those legs all the way here behind him. And I'll demonstrate. So here, just have a quick look on what we're doing first. Let's go right shoulder first. So I want you to have your elbow in line here with your shoulder. Then has a 90-degree flexion on his elbow as well. From here, I'll ask them to roll over that right shoulder. So if you guys have a look here before you get set up, then he's bringing his top leg heel towards the floor. So that's an option. Another option would be just tucking both knees towards his chest. So hip flexion here then, all the way, yeah. So that's an option as well. So see how you feel more comfortable here and just set yourself up in this position. So here guys, I want you, as you set yourself up, I'll just walk you through. Imagine the front part of your shoulder has to be on the floor. If there is a gap here between the front part of your shoulder and the floor, it's completely fine. But try to be constantly drawing that front part of your shoulder down towards the floor. So you're aiming here to have your chest facing out to the side completely and not facing down towards the floor. So you should be feeling here, front part of your shoulder, chest. And just stay there for me. As we have just one very quick contraction. So contraction will be, I want you to imagine that bottom shoulder, the shoulder you are just rotating over. I want you to think about your hand, your elbow. So I want you to think about your whole arm as an entire block. We are going to drive the arm down towards the floor. Let's go now for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now big inhale. As you exhale, I want you to try to rotate over that shoulder a little bit further. If you feel you have no room there, just stay in that position. And we've got last 10 seconds here, guys. And then from here, I want you to roll over your stomach and set yourself up for the other side. So then just get ready. Remember, now he has his left, he's rolling over his left shoulder. So imagine you want to rotate that chest facing out to the side, but you want even that chest to face up to the ceiling. Also think here, someone just pushing the back of that shoulder down. So you want that front part of your shoulder to be touching the floor. So here guys, contraction. You're squeezing exactly the same tissue that you are lengthening, yeah? So think about the front part of your shoulder, think about your chest, and drive the entire arm down to the floor. Let's go now for 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And relax again. Same process. Big inhale as you exhale. So when you exhale, that's when you actually try to go a little bit more intense. And last 10 seconds here. And always respecting your limits here, guys. So if you feel that's not the day to be working on contractions, you can just hold the entire time, a passive hold. If you feel that's not the day to be going too further into stretches, that's also completely fine. So it's also about just assessing how our body is that day, if you've done heaps of stuff, or if you saw, if you tightened that day, and slowly, slowly coming out of it then. And you guys at home. And just to finish here, guys, we're going to go for a bit of bridge pose. So we're working thoracic extension. So then he's sitting back on his heels. Maybe you guys can tuck your toes under and just get those knees hip width apart. And from here, I want you to target one heel first, and then squeeze those shoulders back. And for this one here, guys, if Dan could just set himself up. So one heel first. I want you to be squeezing those shoulders. And here, guys, before you start, just have a look at us first. I still want you to be quite active through your midsection. Yeah, I don't want you to soften your belly too much, because if you soften your belly too much, you tend to be overarching through your lumbar spine. And what we're targeting here, it's more upper spine extension, shoulders back. So you still tight here through your core, and you still want to be sending ribs in and down. So once you guys ready, go for it. And also here, guys, as you are setting yourselves up, if holding both ankles is not accessible for you, it's completely fine. I want you to transition from one to the other. So you can go reach one ankle and then up and then the other. And then you can go for a few reps, or you can hold one side and then transition to the other side. We don't have too much of a long hold here, guys. If you feel you're done with this one, I'll ask you to get into child's pose. If you want to stay for longer, please stay for longer. I'll give them the option here. Want to stay for longer then? If you want to get into child's pose.
Charles?
He's loving it. This has another hour here.
Right. Do that one.
Once you feel you're done with your ankle bridge, guys, just get into a child's pose for me. And then I just want you to go for very, very deep inhales. And I want you to feel your belly expanding. And I want you to feel your belly pushing into your thighs. So send the air through your belly and then big exhale. You can rock those hips side to side very gently. You can focus on pushing it back up to the ceiling. And last couple of breaths here. And that was full stretch for today. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Dan.
That's nice. That's good.
See you guys.